Hello friends, welcome to another video. In today's video, we are going to look into how we can use disconnected table to achieve our reporting goals. Also, we will look at a row number function, which is new DAX function recently introduced like a couple of months ago, part of the window DAX functions. But before that, I want to thank Abdul. He reached out to me on LinkedIn and asked this question, which basically is the reason for this video that I'm doing. Thanks, Abdul, for asking the question, and hopefully you enjoyed the solution. So let's look at Power BI and take a look at what we're trying to achieve here. So what the question was, you want to use a metrics visual. And on metrics visual, right now this is a table visual. So based on the category selected, for example, if we selected the mountain bikes, in this particular case, whatever the product we have alphabetically by name of the product, we want to see this as the first, second, actually want to group it by 1, 2, 3, 4, basically a serial number. So if I don't select mountain bikes, the all-purpose bikes can come as the number 1, and then number 2, number 3, number 4. And again, keep in mind, it's not the ranking, it's not the row number, it's a serial number which you wanted to use on the rows. And if we create a measure, we cannot use it on the rows on the matrix visual. We can use it in the value section, but not on the grouping section. So basically, if I switch it to a matrix visual, what you wanted to see is above a product category is the serial number. So that whatever change this one to the matrix visual. Okay, this one to the matrix visual, and so basically on what we wanted to do is a serial number on top of product. So whatever the products are selected based on the slicer, and that serial number will always start from 1, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and so forth, so on. So that's kind of the ask. So unfortunately, we can easily rank, we can easily create the row numbers, we can do a lot of stuff, but we can, if we create those as a measure, we cannot use those on the rows, because that's the measure does not work on rows, right? So what's the solution? That's what I'm going to show you. This is where sometimes where the things are not possible with the modeling, you have to think out of the box and work with another way to solve it. In this case, what we're going to do is we're going to create another table which will help us to create that serial number, and based on the selected products, it will always start from 1. So let's look at the solution. Okay, let me change it back to table visual because it's easy to explain that way. And also I'm gonna change this one to the slicer, which it was originally, so that we can easily select and see the result. So the first thing what we're going to do is we're going to take advantage of window DAX function, which is a new function, basically the row number function. Based on whatever products are selected, we're going to alphabetically sort it by product name and give it to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's what we're going to do. I already have the measure. Let me grab it and explain the measure. So here I have the measure, which is basically give us the row number. So actually we're going to call it serial number. He called it serial number when he posted the question. So what I'm going to do is created a measure called product serial number using the row number function. And what we're doing is we're giving a table as a source to the row number, which is summarize all selected sales. It means whatever product category we select in the slicers, this is the product category. And we get all those sales record, grouping it by product, and because we want the serial number by product, and we're going to get the sales because only the product which has the sales we want to be included in this particular case. And then order it by product ascending, depending on your need, you can have ascending and descending. So what it will give me dynamic row number for each product sorted by the product name or the description, and it will have the row number. So let's take a look at what this measure returned to us. So I'm gonna bring this measure into our table visual here called product serial number, and so what happens here is, what you see is like this is the serial number is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 and so forth so on. So let's say if I select a category here, I select, let's say I have a product like lights, sorry there is no sales for those one, let's say mountain bikes. So it does not matter what product I select, the serial number is always starting from 1. So now in this case the first product is mountain 100 black. When nothing is selected, our first number is all-purpose bike stand. So this is working. So if I select gloves, maybe other products are like, for example, in gloves there are 3 products. So the first is half finger gloves and so forth so on. So we have a serial number. This is so easy to do with the new feature and new window functions, which is row number. But the challenge with this one is the requirement is again to see the serial number on the rows. Unfortunately, if I create this as a matrix visual, convert into matrix visual, I cannot use this product serial number. Sorry, I keep on changing my slicer to matrix visual. Sorry, select this visual, and then I'm still not very comfortable with the on object formatting. So if we switch to matrix visual, what we have is we have a sales and the product on the values, but I cannot bring the product serial number on top of my product, and that's what he's looking for. He wants the serial number on the rows, not on the value section. So we have the dynamic serial number, but how we bring it into the on the row section. So this is what we're going to do is we're going to create another table with all the possible serial number, possibility of all the serial numbers, right? So what that would be, let's say if we're doing the serial number on the product, it means a number of product in our table. What we have is the maximum serial number. Let's say if nothing is selected and in the slicer, and the sales is for all the products happened. So it means, let's say if we have a 2000 product, it means it will start from 1 to 2000, right? That's the maximum possibility. It will not go more than that. So what we will need is we need one table which will give us the list of rows for all the serial number, possible serial numbers which we can have in our visualization. So how we can do that? We can take advantage of generate series function here. I have a video on all the generate functions. Do check out the video. I will post the link of that video in this video. Do check out the video to understand what all the generate function does. But for now, what we're going to do is we're going to use the generate series function. So I'm going to go to modeling and create a table, and let's give it a name. I already have a serial number table, so I'm going to give it serial number version 1 or 2. So what we're going to do is, so generate series, as I said, the function we're going to use. So generate series, and then it has a start value and the end value. Start, we all know it's going to be always 1. End value, what that end value is, we want it to be dynamic. We don't know what the end values is going to be. What we can do is we can get the count of the product we have in our product table and put that as an end value. How we can do that? We can simply get the count rows from our product table. Let's say if there is a need that we wanted to do count on another column with, let's say, on the categories or subcategories, and from the same table we can always get the distinct values of that column, and then we can count on that. But in this particular case, because our product table has a unique value for each row, so that's what we want. We want it to be all the products. So, and then what the increment values, we want it to increment by 1. So what does this means is this particular generate series will give us the maximum number of rows or the serial numbers possible. So if we go in a data view here, and if we look at the generate series, so what we have a 606 rows. basically in here, which should be the same as the product number as a product table as well. So if I go to the product table, so we have a 606 products, so that makes sense. So that's what our generate series table does. Now one thing you will probably notice here, if I go to serial number version 2, the column name is values, so that's not something which we want. We want it to call it a serial number. You can leave it with value, because by default when you're creating these tables with DAX, the column name is always value. So what we can simply do here is to make it more user friendly. We can go select columns, so from our table, which is our generate series table, and then whatever the column name we want to give it, so that's our serial number, and then the column which is value. So now what we will have is we have the column name will change to serial number. So the end result is still the same, 606 rows. So this is perfectly fine. Now we got this. Now again, going back to this is a disconnected table. It does not have any relationship. It's purely for the purpose of creating that serial number on the matrix visual on the rows. That's why we need it for. So how this is going to work then, let's say if this has been selected right now, and if I go to my serial number version 2 here, which we just created, and the serial number as a column, let's change its summarization to do not summarize, because we don't want to sum this, just want to see it also on the rows here. So we have the column now, which we can surely use it on rows, but will it work? Of course it will not, because it doesn't have any knowledge of relationship or anything. So what we're seeing is the same 3 product will repeat for each serial number and the same value. And because the reason is straightforward, because there is no relationship of this table with any of the other table. But we cannot set the relationship because the product serial number will be dynamic, right? It will change depending on what we have selected, that we saw earlier at the start of this video. So how are we going to make use of this? So it's we have the product serial number, which we know we get 1, 2, 3, and basically what we know is this is the serial number that what we wanted to see. These are the dynamic, right? We don't want to see the rest of the serial number. So what we're going to do is we're going to write another measure which we will use as a filter for our matrix visual, and that will do the job for us. So I already have that measure. Let me bring that measure and then explain what is in that measure. Okay, here I have a measure. Again, this is called filter serial number. So what I'm saying is, what is my current serial number? What is the visible serial number? The selected value, of course, whatever the selected value is, which is basically on the row, whatever the serial number we are looking at. I'm going to use the serial number V2 because that's the one we are using right now. So that is our selected value serial number, and then we created the measure previously called the product serial number. So we store those into 2 variables, and then what we're saying is compare these together. If they are, the comparison will give us true or false, right? If 1 is equal to 1 is a true, and otherwise wherever it is not matching is the false. Now the one thing you will notice here, will it work? Practically it look like it will work. What is going to happen here is, let me actually put this measure, and why I'm doing the integer, the reason behind that is when you're using a measure in the visual level filter, you cannot filter on true or false. You can only filter on either there is I think you can filter on a text, or you can filter on a actual value, which will be 1 and 0. So basically true will turn into, when I say convert into integer, it's basically going to true into 1 and false into 0. So let's bring this measure here in the visual here as well. What you're seeing is now we are seeing all the products what we have, because we force it to show the 0. Like here is an example. When it is 1, the product which are selected, this is giving us the 1. That's what we really want, because we want the where the product serial number, which is the measure already ranked, or the row number is assigned to match with the serial number in the visibility. So I can filter it on a 1, and then I can if we go to the second block here, let me go back up quickly. On the 2, it will give me second. So now in when I'm the grouping of the second serial number, what I'm seeing is the 1. Here's a 2 value. So this is working. Okay, so now we have this measure which does the comparison and giving us the true value in that specific grouping of the serial number. So we can use this as our visual level filter. But before that, what we're going to do is, as you can see, this 0 value is coming everywhere, and the reason behind that is, this is the one thing I was trying to explain, tell before. Here what we're doing is, the serial number is always giving us a serial number, and then the product serial number is blank, right? It's only 1, 2, 3. We have 3 products which has a ranking based on the selection, and rest is blank. So what it is doing is, it's saying is blank equal to the selected value, the serial number, and then it's always returning false, and that's why we are getting 0 here. What we can do is, we can, if we wrap this into if not is blank, again this is not required, it is just, I want to show you guys is what the why we're getting so many zeros and showing all the products here. In this particular case it is not relevant, but again this is just a matter of explaining why we're seeing all the products with so many 0, whereas we have only selected the product in this particular case. So here you go, once we updated this our filter measure here, and now you see, if I go back, so under each category we are seeing only the 3 products, right? Because what we did in our filter serial number only return in this value if there is a product serial number, and product serial number is a dynamic, it's always based on the selected product, otherwise it is blank. So we're saying if this product serial number is blank, just return the blank value, and because it's returning the blank value, if we don't see all the products in the matrix visual. Now if you go, that's easy to explain here. In this particular case, the first product is true value, in this case is the second is a true value, in this case a third. But again, this is getting repeated, and rest everywhere it will be false. If you can see under 4 or 5, 6, 7, it's all 0 and all that stuff. Now we can easily filter on this particular measure. We say visual level filter, filter serial number is equal to 1, just show only those products, and that will solve the problem. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to remove these measures from here, because they're just for the reference here. And what we're going to do is going to our visual level filter here and bring our filter serial number is equal to 1. That's what I was explaining before. True or false we cannot return, because that will we will not able to filter on true or false. It's always either numeric or text, or depending on the type of the measure. So if I go and apply filter here, what I'm going to see is only 1, 2, 3. It's a serial number and the 3 products which are currently selected. So now it is dynamic. If we somehow get rid of this thing, so if I go, I know there is a mountain bikes. So my serial number will always start from 1 and all the products under that. Now in this particular case, we have 28 products being selected. So under each product serial number, it is, again this is the requirement, under each serial number it shows the product. So if I don't select anything, my first product will be whatever the first product we have sold, and that is all-purpose bike stand, and now it is showing us so it means we have around 60, whatever the number of products is showing up here, that's how many we sold. So I hope you enjoyed this video and learned few techniques that how you can use disconnected tables to visualize the data, which is otherwise not possible using a data model. We always talk about data models, we always talk about how important that is, but in a scenario like this, where we won't have a dynamic things changing on, showing on the columns, unfortunately we cannot use a star schema or a data model. So disconnected tables become very, very powerful and get us to achieve which is otherwise not possible. I hope you learned few things out of this video. I'm doing another video on disconnected tables, and which I will post in another scenario where the disconnected tables becomes very, very powerful. Make sure to subscribe my channel. No more videos are there already on my channel, around 175 videos spanned over talking about DAX, visualization, calculation groups, paginator reports, you just name it, fabric. Do check out those videos as well, and surely come up with a suggestion or something you really want a video to be get done and to be get explained. I can surely work with you. Until next video, have a great weekend and make sure to subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned. Thanks a lot. Bye for now.